Imagine waking up in the middle of the night to find your daughter missing, only to discover she's headed straight for the edge of a cliff. That's what happens to Rose and Christopher Da Silva, whose adopted daughter Sharon keeps having terrifying nightmares and sleepwalking. She only says one thing over and over: Silent Hill. With no other choice and fear gripping their hearts, Rose decides to take her to the mysterious abandoned town of Silent Hill, even though Christopher begs her not to. What could be waiting for them in a place so dark and forgotten? As Rose drives toward the eerie town of Silent Hill, she makes a quick stop at a gas station to get her bearings. Little does she know, Officer Sybil Bennett from a nearby town is already keeping a close eye on her. Sybil's suspicion grows when Sharon, Rose's daughter, suddenly freaks out about her drawings being changed into creepy, almost spooky images. But the truth is, Sharon drew them herself during one of her strange episodes. Sybil approaches, offering to help, but Rose brushes her off, determined to continue. Sybil isn't convinced though, and quietly makes note of Rose's license plate, feeling something isn't quite right. Rose keeps driving towards Silent Hill, but soon she notices that Officer Sybil is right behind her, trying to pull her over. Instead of stopping, Rose hits the gas and speeds away, determined to reach the mysterious town. Just when she thinks she's escaped, a young girl suddenly steps out in front of the car. Rose tries to swerve, but it's too late, and she crashes, knocking herself out. When she wakes up, her heart sinks. Sharon is gone, surrounded by thick fog and ashes falling like snow. Rose finds herself on the edge of Silent Hill. Desperate, she starts searching the empty, ghostly streets, calling out for her missing daughter. Chasing what she believes is her daughter into a dark alley, Rose suddenly feels the whole town change around her. It's like she's entered a twisted, darker version of Silent Hill. The walls are rusty metal, and she spots a creepy figure, dressed like a miner, hanging lifelessly on a fence, with blood everywhere. Before she can make sense of it, a small, nightmarish creature called a gray child jumps out and attacks her. More of them appear, surrounding her. Panicked, Rose runs into a nearby building, but trips and falls. Just as the creatures close in, everything around her starts to melt and fall apart, including the creatures. Rose passes out, and when she wakes up, she's in a run-down bowling alley, the foggy world surrounding her once more. Rose, determined to escape Silent Hill, ventures out again only to discover that the main road out of town has crumbled into a deep pit of fog, trapping her. As she stands at the edge, a strange woman dressed in ragged clothes appears. The woman, Dahlia, starts rambling about the awful things done to her daughter, Alessa, by the townspeople. When Dahlia sees a picture of Rose's daughter, Sharon, in a locket, her eyes light up. She becomes obsessed and claims that Sharon is actually her child, trying to snatch the locket from Rose. In a sudden burst of rage, Dahlia nearly pushes Rose off the edge of the broken road, but Rose manages to escape and runs back to her car. There, she finds a drawing of a school in Sharon's sketchbook, another clue in the search for her missing daughter. Officer Sybil suddenly shows up, and before Rose can explain, she arrests her for running away earlier. As she puts Rose in handcuffs, Sybil admits that she also crashed and woke up in Silent Hill, just like Rose. The two decide to head back to the police station, but they're shocked to find that the road out of town has completely vanished. Sybil starts to believe Rose might be telling the truth. Something is definitely wrong with Silent Hill. As they retrace their steps, hoping to find a way out, they spot a shadowy figure coming toward them through the fog. When it gets closer, they realize it's one of the town's terrifying creatures, and it begins spraying boiling acid at Sybil. While Sybil fights the monster, Rose seizes the moment to slip away, running back into the creepy town. She manages to move her handcuffs to the front, giving her just enough freedom to use bus signs to guide her to Midwich Elementary School, where she believes Sharon might be hiding. Inside the creepy, abandoned school, Rose is hit with a flashback showing the town as it looked 30 years ago. She watches in horror as a group of mean girls surround a young Alessa, mocking her and calling her a witch while throwing books at her. What shocks Rose the most is that Alessa looks exactly like her daughter Sharon. When the vision ends, Rose spots Alessa running into the girls' bathroom. Following her, Rose opens a stall door and is met with a horrifying sight: the body of a janitor, wrapped in barbed wire, with a hotel keychain hanging from his mouth. Nervously, she takes the keychain, but before she can leave, strange figures in dark suits show up. Rose quickly locks the bathroom door with a key she finds in the main office, just as a loud siren starts wailing. Suddenly, the bathroom begins to rot and fall apart, shifting into the twisted otherworld. To her shock, the janitor's body comes to life, crawling toward her, still tangled in barbed wire. Rose barely escapes before he can reach her, fleeing the terrifying scene. While all this is happening, Christopher is digging deep into old reports and online articles about Silent Hill. The more he reads, the more worried he becomes about the dangers lurking there. Fearing for Rose's safety, he decides to head to Silent Hill himself to save her. Officer Thomas Gucci, though hesitant at first, finally agrees to help after Christopher pleads with him to find his missing wife. As they drive toward the abandoned town, Gucci warns Christopher about the underground coal fire and the other dangers that forced everyone to leave. He mentions that his father used to run the local barber shop before the town became too dangerous. Although the officer sympathizes with Christopher's worry, he's mostly focused on keeping him safe and wants to leave the spooky town as soon as possible. Christopher and Officer Gucci finally arrive at the school, where Rose is still trapped in the twisted otherworld. Even though they're in the same place, Rose and Christopher can't see or hear each other. At one point, as they both walk through the same hallway, Christopher feels something, like a faint presence. He even catches a whiff of Rose's perfume, making him certain she's close by. But when he tells Gucci, the officer shakes his head, not convinced. He brushes off the odd sight of a school door swinging open and shut on its own, unaware that Rose just passed through it in the other reality. Frustrated and empty-handed, Christopher and Gucci leave the town, still without any answers. Rose, feeling completely hopeless, collapses in tears, convinced she can't go on. As the creepy crawlers close in on her, it seems like the end, until Sybil bursts in just in time, having also been pulled into the twisted otherworld with Rose. They retreat to a nearby storeroom, but before they can catch their breath, a terrifying figure, Red Pyramid, appears, swinging a massive knife as big as a door. In a frantic scramble, Sybil fires her gun, aiming at his arm as he tries to rip away the metal bar keeping the door shut. Just when it seems like the monster will break in and finish them off, he suddenly stops, and with a strange shift, the school returns to the foggy, eerie world they know. While all this is happening, Christopher has ignored Officer Gucci's warnings and sneaks into the Toluca County archives, hoping to find clues that might help him find Rose. There, he uncovers old documents revealing that the town was abandoned after a huge fire 30 years ago. He also finds a photo of a girl who looks just like Sharon, which is both shocking and confusing. Just as he tries to get more information from Sister Margaret, the head of the orphanage where Sharon was adopted, Officer Gucci catches him. Gucci warns Christopher to stop his investigation or face arrest. Frustrated and defeated, Christopher finally agrees to go home, leaving Silent Hill behind for now. Back in Silent Hill, Rose and Sybil reach the old Grand Hotel. Inside, they meet a young woman named Anna, who seems to know the town well. As they explore the hotel, they find room 111 and stumble upon a hidden passage that leads them to a creepy sacrificial chamber. There, Rose sees a little girl who looks like Sharon, but is much darker, Dark Alessa. Just as Dark Alessa suddenly bursts into flames, a loud siren starts blaring, signaling another shift into the eerie otherworld. Panicked, Anna urges Rose and Sybil to follow her to the local church, believing it might be a safe place. As Rose, Sybil, and Anna head toward the church, they see the otherworld starting to swallow up the church grounds. A group of frightened people rushes to the church for safety. On the steps, Dahlia warns Rose and Sybil not to trust these people, calling them deceiving wolves in the skins of sheep. Rose demands answers from Dahlia, asking why Sharon looks just like Alessa and if Alessa is dead. Dahlia gives a spooky and confusing answer: evil wakes in vengeance, be careful what you choose. While this is happening, Anna gets distracted and starts throwing rocks at Dahlia, accusing her of spreading filth and lies. In a shocking turn, Red Pyramid grabs Anna and tears her skin off, leaving Rose and Sybil in horror. Rose and Sybil finally find a safe spot in the church, which hasn't been taken over by the twisted otherworld. Inside, they meet the last of the townspeople, who turn out to be part of a strange religious group led by a woman named Christabella. She tells them that a powerful demon controls the town and warns Rose that she must face the darkness of hell if she wants to find her daughter. After convincing Christabella that she is determined to find this demon for answers, Rose is guided to Brookhaven Hospital with Sybil by her side. At Brookhaven Hospital, Christabella spots the picture of Sharon in Rose's locket and quickly accuses Rose and Sybil of being witches. As Sybil tries to protect Rose, she gets captured by the cult. Rose manages to escape and takes an elevator down to the basement of the hospital, which is transformed into the dark, creepy otherworld. She narrowly avoids terrifying dark nurses and finds an adult Alessa lying in a hospital bed, badly burned and unable to move or speak. Nearby, a nurse in red robes is crying and hiding her face. Dark Alessa then appears and reveals the truth. Dark Alessa is the dark side of Alessa's soul and explains that she has been leaving clues around town to test Rose's love for Sharon. She wanted to see if Rose was a good mother who could be worthy of taking her place. In a flashback, Rose learns that Silent Hill had a dark history of burning people they thought were witches. Alessa was accused of being a witch because she didn't have a father. Christabella tricked Dahlia into letting her cult purify Alessa, which meant burning her. But the burning went horribly wrong, causing a massive fire that destroyed the town. Out of her pain and anger, Alessa gained powerful psychic abilities and created Dark Alessa and the Otherworld. Ever since, she has been making the town into a nightmarish place to hunt down the cult members who hurt her long ago. Rose is told revealed that Sharon represents Alessa's last bit of innocence and goodness. Dark Alessa took Sharon to the orphanage, where she was later adopted by Rose and Christopher. Dark Alessa warns Rose that Christabella knows where Sharon is because of her connection to Dahlia, and she plans to burn Sharon just like she tried to burn Alessa. This warning proves true when Christabella arrives at Dahlia's apartment and kidnaps Sharon. Realizing she must act to save her daughter, Rose decides to help Alessa get her final revenge. Since the church's protection keeps Alessa out, Dark Alessa has Rose absorb her so she can enter the church. Meanwhile, the nurse in the red robes is still sitting in the back of the ward, crying. When she uncovers her face, it's revealed that she has been crying blood, a result of the psychic attack from Alessa 30 years ago. Rose bursts into the church just as the townspeople have burned Sybil to death and see that Sharon is about to face the same terrible fate. With her newfound understanding of the truth, Rose tries to convince the townspeople and Christabella that they are in denial about their own doom. In a fit of rage, Christabella stabs Rose, accusing her of being corrupted and working for the demon. As Rose bleeds, her blood drips onto the church floor, which awakens Alessa's dark essence and opens a portal to the other world. From the portal, both Dark Alessa and the adult Alessa emerge and use long, sharp barbed wire to kill Christabella and the townspeople. Only Dahlia, Rose, and Sharon are left alive. When Sharon and Dark Alessa lock eyes, Sharon faints from the shock. After Alessa's revenge is done, Dahlia is left alone on the church steps. She asks Rose why Alessa didn't take her like the others. Rose replies that Dahlia is still Alessa's mother, and to a child, mother is like God. Dahlia then understands that Sharon is now Alessa and watches in shock as her child leaves the church with Rose. Rose and Sharon, who is now part of Alessa, finally leave Silent Hill and head back home, though they're still in the foggy, strange world. At the same time, Christopher comes back home from his search at the archives. Even though Rose and Sharon Alessa are in the same house, they can't see each other because they are in different parallel worlds. Christopher still feels Rose's presence and notices that a door has mysteriously opened by itself. As Sharon Alessa leaves the room, her face becomes dark and serious, showing that Alessa's two parts have finally come together after 30 years. Now, Sharon is completely Alessa. Which movie should we recap next? Drop your suggestions in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more movie recaps. Thanks for watching.